So, having discussed the fundamentals of system design, we can now explore a practical example. Like I said, that in the next class, we are going to discuss one practical example, which I was saying of airline reservation system. So, let's see that. Before discussing this, let me tell you a few things that this is the start of system design. We have covered lecture 1 where we have discussed all the basics of system design. So if you haven't watched that class, please without miss cover that, and after that you can watch this. And if you have any doubt, you can ask me the doubts on the Telegram group. Okay, my name is Vitali. You can tag me while asking the doubt. Otherwise, your doubt will get missed if you will not tag me, because I will not be able to check. So I hope you can understand this. And after that, so please make notes, okay, of system design. This is very very important aspect. As so we have also discussed why this is one of the most important like course which we are discussing of system design, and why the FANG companies are nowadays targeting this course, and why are they asking most of the questions from this course. So this is all which we have discussed. So let's discuss the airline reservation system. Airline reservation airline reservation system. Okay, so this is the very practical example which we are talking about. So to better understand now, so let's explore this. So this system will help illustrate the various components and design consideration involved. To better understand the airline reservation system, let's examine its context level flow diagram, which is DFD. And in this diagram, key entries, passengers. So key entries are, the diagram will have key entries, and that key entries will have passengers, passenger, travel, travel agent, and airline. Okay, so this is what we will have, an airline service as the primary data source and destination. So this is what we are going to write. Airline serve as the primary data sources and destinations. So let's understand this by a diagram. So I will draw a diagram for you all. So this is passenger. This is passenger. After that, from here we will make an arrow which is saying travel request. Okay, where we will have airline reservation system. Airline reservation system. So from this, we will go to travel agent. So here preference and air flights. Air flights are there, and from here ticketing will be there. Okay, and here airline. Okay, so here passenger, passenger reservation will be there. All right, so this is the complete flow, data flow. Now see the data flow. If you talk about the data flow, the flow diagram illustrate how data moves from the system. So, for instance, when a passenger wants to book a flight, they initiate a travel request. So, this is a passenger. If the passenger wants to book the ticket, it will make the travel request here. Okay, which is represented by an arrow pointing towards the system, which is airline reservation system. Now, interaction with the travel agent and airline will be there. Okay, the request is then transmitted to two main entities. Which are two main entities here? So the first entity which we can see is travel agent, okay, and the airline. So travel agent, this is, and the airline. So here, this two main entities, the request has been sent. Okay, everyone, request has been sent. After that, the travel agent checks seat availability and preferences, okay, sending an air flight request to the airline. And what is ticketing process will do? If a ticket, if a seat is available, the travel agent proceeds to issue a ticket based on the passenger's request. And this interaction is captured in the flow diagram as the ticketing process. All right, everyone. And what is handling unavailability? So, if no tickets are available, the system generates a request for passengers reservation, indicating that the airline must manage and inform the passenger about the reservation options. Okay. So, this context level flow diagram effectively encapsulates the interaction and data flow among the various components of airline reservation system, providing a clear overview of how the system operates and how user engage with it. Right, everyone? So please note this very important thing. And after that, we will move towards the next point. So I'll wait for 1 to 2 minutes, and after that, we will discuss. Okay. Okay, so I hope this is done. Now, let's see the requirements gathering process, in system design. In system design. The requirement gathering process is an important phase in system design and development process where the needs and expectation of stakeholder are identified, analyzed and documented to ensure that the final system meets their requirement. Okay? So, and see, it is the process it is the process of determining determining what the project needs to achieve and what needs to be created to make that happen. So we will be studying some requirements of gathering process. Okay, so note this everyone, and after that we will analyze it. Okay, so let's understand. The first one is identify stakeholders. So this is the first one. So identify all stakeholders involved in or impacted by the system, including, so this includes end users. Second is it includes clients. After that, managers. After that, subject matter experts, then developers, and other relevant parties. So this is what identify stakeholders includes. Okay, so please note down this everyone. After that, we will see the next one, which is define objectives and scope. Okay, so let's understand that. Define objectives and scope. Define objectives and scope. So clearly define the objectives of the system and the scope of the project. Determine what the system is intended to achieve, what functionalities it should provide, and any constraint or limitation. Okay, so it determines what the system is intended to achieve, what functionality what functionality it should provide, any constraints or limitations. Any constraints or limitation is there. Okay, then the third thing is here. Third thing is conduct interviews interviews and workshops. So engage with stakeholders through interviews, workshop, or focus groups to gather their requirement, preferences, and highlights, insights. So use open-ended question to encourage stakeholders to express their needs and expectation. So that is why we have to conduct the interviews and the workshop. So why we do this? To gather the requirements, preferences, and insights insights. Okay, and we also have to use open ended questions to encourage stakeholders to express their needs and expectations. Needs and expectation. The fourth point here we will talk about is document requirements. So document requirement using appropriate techniques such as use cases, user stories, functional requirement, specification, which is also called as FRS, and non-functional requirement specification, which is also called as NFRS. Okay, and here what we do by this? Ensure that requirements are clear, concise, and unambiguous. Okay, everyone. Next is prioritize requirements. So, what we have to prioritize requirements on their importance. Okay. Second factor is urgency and feasibility. Feasibility. Okay. And we have to use techniques which is called as, so I will write a note here, use techniques like MOS COW, which is prioritization, which is must have, should have, could have, and won't have, or weighted scoring to prioritize requirement effectively. Okay, everyone. So that is why priority requirement is the way. Then the next we are talking about validate requirements. So let's understand this. Validate requirements. So validate requirements with stakeholder to ensure what? To ensure that they accurately reflect their needs and expectations. Okay, their needs and expectation, address any dis or we can say address any conflicts or ambiguity through discussions and okay. So this is validate requirements. Let's talk about iterate and refine. Seventh is iterate and refine. So iterate on the requirements gathering process as needed to incorporate feedback, address changes, and refine the requirements. So be flexible and adaptable to involving stakeholders' needs, project, and dynamics. Okay. So the line I will write here is on the requirements gathering process as needed to incorporate feedback, address changes, and refine the requirements. Refine the requirements. Okay. So next we are going to talk about is manage requirement changes. Okay. So eighth is manage requirements changes. So here is establish a process for managing requirements changes throughout the process throughout the project life cycle. Implement a change. So I will write this implement a change control mechanism to evaluate, approve, and track changes to requirements to maintain project alignment and manage scope creep. All right. So note this, everyone. Done. So let's write the next one. Review and approval. So review and finalize the requirement documents with stakeholder to obtain their approval and sign off. So we have to ensure that stakeholder understand and agree to the specific requirement before proceeding to the next phase of the project. So this is review and approval. So there is nothing to write in this. After that, the very last which we are going to study about is communication and collaboration. So, this is a foster open communication and collaboration among the stakeholders, project team members, and the other relevant parties through the requirement gathering process. So, we have to use the tools and techniques such as prototyping, visualization, and feedback mechanism to facilitate understanding and alignment. All right, everyone. So, this was all the thing. Now, let's understand some important what are the importance of this gathering process. Okay, so let's understand that importance or requirements gathering process. The first one is alignment with stakeholder needs. So, what is this thing? By involving stakeholder early and systematically gathering their requirement, the final product is more likely to align with their needs and expectation and the goals. So, what happens because of this increases stakeholder satisfaction and the likelihood of project